Good morning and welcome. First, let me begin by giving a special thank you to our Mayor, Ras Baraka, Senator Teresa Ruiz, who will be here shortly, Senator Ron Rice, Councilman Mildred Crump, members of Newark City Council, the Essex County Executive, Joseph DiVincenzo, and Marquise Aquil Allen Lewis, our board chair. Please stand, Marquise. Kim Gaddy. These are members of our not advisory board anymore. Let's correct that. The Newark Board of Education, Dashae Carter, Leah Owens, Josephine Garcia, Reginald Bledsoe, Floesha Johnson. Board. Today is about us. It's about everybody in this room. Through our collective genius, we are beginning to experience not only historic moments in the history of this city, but more importantly, change in the Newark Public Schools. It marks a movement towards a day that many of us questioned we'd ever see or experience. A renaissance is occurring in the city of Newark, and all of us play a role in ensuring it benefits our city's most precious resource, our students. My name is Robert Gregory. I am the Deputy Superintendent of the Newark Public Schools. I've been working in Newark for over 20 years now. I am a proud third-generation Newarker. Today is very, very personal for me. While there's a rising tide occurring in the city of Newark, I want to ensure our students are riding the wave instead of being crushed by it. We won't allow a tale of two cities to emerge in this city. We are living our ancestors' dreams and prayers, and it is our responsibility to write the next chapter and course of history in Newark. The future of this city lies in those in this room. We must break out of our silos, let go of our egos, and form a united front around the success of our students. Today we celebrate a new school district, a new city, a new hope. We have risen from obscurity and despair, and Newark is back in the national spotlight. It is our time, and we should all join together and give ourselves a round of applause. Welcome, Senator. The great poet W.B. Yeats states, "Things fall apart, the center can't hold." In other words, when the bowling ball is aimed down the lane, it has the opportunity to miss all the pins or have a ripple effect and wipe them all out. Chris Cerf, for the past 2.5 years, has been that bowling ball. He stepped into a tsunami. He had the courage to come and begin to change the discourse in the city of Newark, creating a collaborative governance structure which didn't focus on individuals or superheroes, but instead a collective force of human beings from all over the country and those who were born and bred in Newark to put together systemic solutions for systemic failures. What's the touchdown? If I can make a football analogy, it's higher graduation rates. It's the fact that the unprecedented economic expansion that we are seeing occur in Newark has a lot to do with graduation rates, and if in fact we want this city to change, our students have to be able to take advantage of the jobs that are available right down the street. We are now more efficient, and in our new headquarters, we are poised for success. So I want to thank Chris for his work over the past 2.5 years. I'm very confident in what we will do as a city to ensure our kids get the best. Please join me in welcoming our superintendent, Christopher Sir.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. It's really great that you all took time out of your days to be here. Welcome to you all. Welcome, Mayor, President Crump, members of the City Council. I see others well represented here. Members of the school board. It really means a lot to me that you all took the time to be here. Thank you to each and every one of you for your contribution to the future of the city. Of course, Senator Ruiz, President pro tempore. I didn't take Latin. Did I get that right? Senator Ruiz and head of the Education Committee. I know Assemblywoman Pinto Marin is making her way here, or so I understand. Members of the Essex County delegation. Thank you so much. And there are other dignitaries and honored guests here as well. This is a day to offer thanks and gratitude to the board, each and every one of you, from the bottom of my heart, for supporting our proposal to move out of 2 Cedar Street after 20 years in what I can now say out loud was a decaying, obsolete, and terribly overpriced building, a lease that some would say had been continued over the years as much for political reasons than anything else. You see, I'm kind of unleashed now. Into this new, completely beautiful facility that saves us $2 million a year. Here's your seat, Assemblywoman. Thank you very much. I called you out.
Thanks for calling me out.
Yeah, sorry. This $2 million a year, and this is what we kind of focus on. What's going to happen to that $2 million a year? Why do we do this? Yeah, we like nice buildings, but every dollar of that goes directly into our schools for higher pay for our educators, for smaller class size, for books, and for education generally. So thanks to the board for enabling this to happen. Thank you to the mayor, without whose support nothing good happens in this city, and that was certainly the case here. I'll have more to say in a minute about his leadership in the realm of education. But on a practical level, I mean, what do I know about construction? But this involved cabling and trenches and inspections. And government in this particular area may not be the most nimble of organizations. And every time there was a need or an issue, can you just help me out here and get the inspectors over today instead of next week? Or can you make that call to PSE&G to get that trench dug so we can get our new IT system in? The mayor was there for us and for the department, and I'm very, very grateful to that. To Paul Winslow and Kit Nugent and our partners at Student to Science, please participate in the tour to follow here, who have worked tirelessly and creatively to build an extraordinary science laboratory downstairs in this building, complete with over $4 million in top-end laboratory and communications equipment, a program that, in my view, will provide a nation-leading on-site and digitally delivered STEM experience to every middle and high school student in the district. To the team at Mad Equities and its subcontractors, thank you for what you did. I know I was a pain in the neck, and I'm being very nice. But a special shout out to George Madruga, to Jason Becker, to Dave Ryan, to Benito Hidalgo. Thanks for the miracle you guys pulled off. This building, it may not look like it now, was stripped to the barest of bones. Completely rewired, replumbed, totally redesigned, and furnished all in a matter of months. To our team, to Val, who oversaw this. I guess it's like Prince. You don't need to give a last name, right? Our school business administrator, Val Wilson, to Jason Ballard, who oversaw the day-to-day, to Troy Fisher, who is not with us here, but is with us, frankly, in spirit, who oversaw the incredible development of our IT and our network system here. To Abdullah, I don't know if Abdullah's here. Abdullah Ansari, one of our heroes here. Man, you have no idea what this gentleman has accomplished. To Pamela Luke, anybody here ever go to the basement of two-seater? Anyone ever go to the basement? I mean, the floor one is not allowed to go to for health reasons and other. The idea of going through, hundreds, at least 100 years of records and stuff and collection, and complying with record disposition laws and overtime. Pam, you did an amazing job. Pamela, I should say. So thank you very much. Cheryl Hart, thank you so much, from CPRE, who is the sort of midwife of this deal. And I also, of course, want to thank the team that oversaw the interior design and the art, Roger Leone and Margaret L., who really did such a great job. But yes, so this is indeed a day to give thanks, but it's also a day to take stock. As I leave my post after nearly 3 years, and as the elected school board sheds its advisory status and takes full control of the district on behalf of the people of this great city. Now, I got to tell you, I feel a tremendous sense of fulfillment. And as I share why I feel that way, I want to be really clear from the bottom of my heart that this is really not about me. This is about what we have accomplished together. All arrows are pointed up in Newark as a city and as a school system. This is a city poised for greatness, and these victories belong to no one individual, least of all me. They belong to educators, political leaders, the entire NPS team, and the community at large. So they're just a long list of things that I am proud to have been a part of. I'm just going to mention a couple. First, and I think most centrally, and you remember, I've been doing this for 2 decades or more in New York City, in Trenton, and in various different places. The conversation in this city is now centered around educational success and is uniquely and honestly focused on designing the right path to achieve that for all of Newark's children, regardless of the circumstances into which they are born, and regardless of the form of public education their parents believe best to serve their needs. Now you go, well, that's not a big deal. Everyone is all about the children and all about educational success. Well, trust me on this. That's not true out there. This kind of single-minded focus on educational success has been sorely lacking in American public education. Think about this. There are so many interests and values implicated in public education. Democracy, fairness to employees, power and control over a $1 billion enterprise in this city, political ambition, community as a value in its own right, and peace and harmony are also values. And all of these are important, and most of them are legitimate, but none of them are the point. Today, far more than ever before, I believe this city is committed to one value above all, that all children, regardless of the circumstances into which they were born, should have equitable access to a free, quality public education that launches them successfully into life. There are and should be disagreements about how to get there. But in the end, in my humble judgment, the goal is clearer now than ever before, and through hard experience, we must know, and this is my central hope and my central concern, we must know that when this central value competes with other interests, we must always resolve that conflict in favor of children. Call it out. Say there's a tension between competing values and break the tie in favor of children. Take a solemn, somber oath that we will do exactly that. And I would not be as optimistic as I am about Newark's future if I didn't believe that after years of intense and appropriate struggle, Newark's civic and political leadership has not coalesced around that value. And if I had any role in that, that is the thing I am most proud of. And indeed, it is working. Today, Newark's graduation rate stands at 78%, 20 points higher than in 2011. 3 times as many African American students go to public schools that perform above the state average, and New Jersey is one of the top states in the country. Newark's performance in reading and math in that period has gone from the bottom to over the 80th percentile, compared to other comparable districts. Newark's entire student body, not just the students eligible for free and reduced price lunch, which, as you know, is a federal proxy for poverty, but the aggregate performance of all Newark's students exceed that of all but one other state in the country that take the PARCC exam. Better than Illinois, better than Colorado, better than Rhode Island, better than Washington, D.C., and basically tied with Maryland. And if you want to just look at students who are eligible for free and reduced price lunch, and you look at every other American city that serves 2,000 or more of such students, Newark is quite literally at the top of the heap, exceeding D.C., exceeding Denver, exceeding Chicago, which have way better publicists than we do because they seem to get a lot of credit for the progress they're making. Now, we still preside over a country that has shamelessly failed to equalize opportunity, but our progress over the past stretch of time has been substantial and undeniable, and so many things contributed to this. But first, in my mind, is the decision to take talent seriously. I'm overhead, guys, right? Most of you guys out there are overhead, right? The people who make a difference are our teachers and our principals, the ones who are in that face-to-face engagement with students. So we brought about a focus on this that I am not aware of any other city in the country that did this. And one evidence of this, and people will have different reactions to the statistic I'm about to put out, but in the last 6 years, we have brought over or approximately 250 tenure charges, and 3/4 of those individuals are no longer with the district. In the prior decade, there were less than 10, and we think it was more like 4. In the prior decade, the 15% of our teachers now, 15% are rated below effective. The national average is 99% are rated effective. The state average is 99% are rated effective. I don't know about you guys, but no school I ever attended or taught in could I ever say that everybody is doing a great and outstanding job on behalf of kids. No longer are raises automatic based on the passage of time. It used to be that you were in place another year, you automatically got a raise. Now we say we absolutely want you to get more and have a raise, but it also has to include a focus on effectiveness. But here's my favorite statistic of all. 97% of our highly effective teachers chose to return to Newark last year. Our best teachers are overwhelmingly, contrary to the narrative out there, oh, it's too hard, you have too many expectations, this accountability system, these high standards, they're scaring people away. No. 97% of our highly effective teachers chose to return to Newark. 95% of our highly effective ones did. And last year, 99% of our vacancies were filled before the first day of school. I'm also pleased to tell you that we have made tremendous progress in the realm of fiscal soundness in district. Now, there are legislators here from Trenton, and they have been such unbelievable partners in helping make this happen. But it is also true that our revenue per pupil, get out your calculators here, has been flat over the past several years. As our student population grew and as the city becomes a more and more exciting place to be, our demographers tell us that there are more and more people moving into the city. Yet, if state aid was flat, that means the per pupil revenue is going down. The amount per pupil, and it has gone down year in, year out. And yet, we are so proud to be able to report to you that the amount that we have been able to allocate to schools is actually up over the past 3 years. Central spending, for you business guys in the audience, the metric I think is most important, how much you spend on central and how much you spend in direct service, whether it's to schools in our world. Central spending as a percentage of revenues is down to an astonishing 8%. How did we do this? We moved out of Two-Cedar Street. We know about that. We sold 13 buildings. We changed our health benefits plan and our prescription benefit plan while providing equivalent or better services. That was about a $20 million fix. We raised a $31 million bond so we could turn to many of our older buildings and not spend operating revenue on them. We, with the help of many people in this room, went to the state and asked for and got, over the last 2 revenue cycles, $57 million new dollars to help us solve this. And we have restored the fund balance, and we are handing the district over in really good financial shape. And there are uncertainties ahead, but none at all if our new governor fulfills even a fraction of his campaign promises. This district, as I quoted this, I went back and looked at, and I think 11 different occasions during the campaign. This district is underfunded to the tune of $140 million a year. And that is an articulation of what the actual funding formula would require. Nobody thinks that is going to happen overnight, but what we need is a fraction of that in this year's budget, 15% of that. And that would cover our expanding costs in labor, in insurance, in energy, in benefits, and so on. I'm so pleased that we're in the Family Support Center that we've empowered families with choice while replacing what has often been a little bit of political favoritism. You get a call from someone. Can you help me out here and get a constituent into one of our better magnet schools? We don't take those calls. We don't do that anymore. You get into a school based on a neutral set of rules that applies just as equally to the disconnected as the connected out there. We make enormous progress to address one of the great shames of education in this city, which is the fact that we, in the realm of special education, 50% of our kids who are identified as special ed, 50%, are in non-inclusive settings. That is twice the national average, twice the state average. And you know where most of those settings are? They're in the South Ward, they're in the West Ward, and a few in the Central Ward. We have worked very, very hard under some terrific leadership here to reduce the number of kids in self-contained settings and to increase the sort of neighborhood distribution of the work. So much more, science, technology, but let me just summarize by saying this. The narrative of failure is disappearing, and it's replaced by one of progress and promise. So, as I draw to a close here, I want to pay a special thanks to the mayor. I made you a promise, and you trusted me to deliver. I promised that I would do everything in my power to facilitate the transition to local control. And I know, because I read the paper too, that you took a lot of grief for that from people who said, don't trust this guy, not going to happen, you're being buffaloed, or the equivalent. And I really am very, very grateful for the trust you reposed in me to try to work together toward that goal. And I will also tell you that the thing I value most in this business is trust. And as often as we may have disagreed, there has never been a single occasion where I have ever doubted the word of this mayor, and I'm really, really grateful for that. And I also appreciate that as an educator who understands deeply that the future of Newark's children is too sacred to be politicized, too morally urgent to be subject to policymaking by slogan rather than reflection, too central to the city's bright future to be influenced by political trades rather than a moral commitment to put children first. I really believe that is the quality of the leadership here, and that is why I am so hopeful. Thank you to the community. Thanks to the incredible team of educators here. You guys are so unbelievably underappreciated for the quality and caliber of the work that you have done. And as I have said, I am so optimistic. The people of Newark now have control of their schools, but also have the educational foundations on which to build and a commitment never to go backwards. I'm very pleased to say that the district will have as its interim leader a truly great educator, one of the city's own, a man who began our festivities today. I have the deepest respect for, Robert Gregory. And we have a process, a serious, non-politicized search process that is underway that will assure superb leadership going forward as well. For all of these reasons, I thank you, and I am optimistic that the 55,000 children we serve every day will have the very, very bright future that they deserve. If I can ever be of service to you, my commitment to this city and to this work remains deep, and you know where to find me. Thank you very much. I believe it is now my great privilege and honor to introduce, I guess I kind of already did that, the great mayor of this great city, Mayor Ras Baraka.
Good morning, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here today. And, you know, when I first started in Newark Public Schools, it was 1992, and I was a substitute teacher with Tim's and jeans on, and coming to school with my hoodie until somebody's mama told me to go buy a suit. And, you know, I've been in Newark Public Schools from that time until 2014. It has been a incredible journey in Newark Public Schools. I grew up in Newark Public Schools, literally. I was just a kid fresh out of college when I became a substitute and then a teacher and then a vice principal and then a principal upon leaving. But, you know, today marks, as the superintendent lays out, marks a new day in the district. Obviously, not just from an old building to a new building, but from a new to a new idea, a new perspective, a new journey, a new road that we all start on here in the city of Newark. I told you I began in '92. Very shortly thereafter, the state took over the public school system. We was corralled in a big building, and somebody came before us and said, "You are now under the auspices of the state." I felt like I was being annexed. But you know, I didn't clearly understand exactly what that meant at the time. I knew it didn't sound too good, but I wasn't clear on exactly what that meant. Today I am very clear on it, and it makes me that much happier that we now have moved past or through that phase and are now under the control of our own mothers and fathers and grandmothers and grandfathers here in the city of Newark. It is a great time to be a Newark resident, to be a Newark student, to be a teacher, to be a principal, as was laid out by the superintendent, has done awesome and great work in the city in the past couple of years. There's a lot to be excited about, a lot to be proud of, and there's a lot of work to do. And hopefully this new building gives us the momentum we need, because I know what a new building does. It gives you momentum, gives you the momentum that you need to be able to continue moving the district forward and moving into heights that has never reached before. And one thing I do want to say before I sit down, the superintendent says that we don't agree on a few things, and that's true. But the reality is I probably worked better with somebody that I had fundamental disagreements with, I guess, than there are people who I agree with almost on everything, who we can't sit down and put one or two things together because a whole bunch of other things always gets in the way of us making those things happen. We can agree on 9 out of 10 things but it's difficult for us to move the ball forward. My father used to say that, our problem is we had 10 things on the table. We disagree with number 2 and number 7, and we throw it all away because we can't agree with 2 and 7, and destroy our opportunity to have any progress at all. And so while we may have disagreed on 4, 5, and 2 or something like that, I'm not counting, but we were able to sit in the room and say, this is the way we should go. This is what we should do, and begin to chart that course forward, right? And to all of those people, I don't blame people for not thinking that this day would come. The city has been filled with cynicism for a very long time, been filled with, it's my ball, I'm going to take it and go home kind of mentality. It's been filled with these people over here and these people over here, and all we're going to do is struggle and fight. And we forget about the overarching goal, which is our young people's desire to have a better life, their families' desire to have their children have a better life, our desire to make the school system and the district and the schools, and the city move forward. We usually opt out to have a fight more than we are to move the district forward. So that being said, I'm glad to be here today. I feel like the school system is getting ready to move in a direction that's never moved in before. We all have an opportunity to play a role in that, and opening up this new building is a symbol of how we get to work together to make those dreams a reality. Thank you.
It is now my pleasure, thank you, Mayor, to bring to the podium and invite a few words from the chairman of the Senate Education Committee, the President Tempore, a former teacher, a deep, someone who has deep commitment to quality education, to standards, to accountability, to early childhood education, and has really become one of the sort of signature leaders in the state. Senator Ruiz, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. To Superintendent Cerf, thank you for laying the foundation to get us to the next chapter so that we can begin to write our own history here in the city of Newark. To the mayor, who is and always will be an educator and recognizes that the only way that this city is going to really progress is if we provide great classrooms in every neighborhood, in every community, in every ward, because the greatest game changer that we can offer any individual is the opportunity to go into a classroom and to excel in an excellent environment. To everyone who made today possible, the superintendent joked about Val being like Prince. Some of us call her V, so her name just keeps getting shorter. Next year, it'll be !! That'll be your symbol. And to my colleagues who are here, I don't know if they were mentioned before, from the municipal level, Councilman Gonzalez, Councilman Gail Chainfield, Councilman Eddie Osborne, for your partnership on the municipal level. To my colleagues in the state assembly, Assemblyman Ralph Caputo, Assemblywoman Cleopatra Tucker, and my running mate, Assemblywoman Eliana Pintor-Marin. I think it's been echoed over and over again, and of course to the entire board. I had a pause there, almost said advisory, but it's so wonderful to just say board. The weight of the future of the school district is all on your shoulders, but it should not be burdened alone, right? When we think about the success of what happened here today, you heard many people being mentioned because it takes a collective and it'll still require a team. There has been some great successes, but the truth of the matter is that there is much work to be done. When you open newspapers, when you start looking at new measures of schools and grading, in the last 2 days, I've opened up the Star Ledger, and whatever matrix they're using, because I'm not sure what it is, if it's accurate or if it's not, it's harrowing to see where some of our schools are faring. When you look at the top 50 schools in the state, and it didn't look like one Essex County school is in there, there is much work that needs to be done. But what I am encouraged about is that we know this. This is not about pretty buildings and new offices. We know that it will require every single human being in the city, every member who is elected to any level of office, from the superintendent to our board members to every teacher in a classroom to the great mayor. It will require all of us at every table that we sit at demanding more and greater for our kids. So congratulations to everyone here. I'm so looking forward to the work that's going to lead us ahead. But most importantly, I want to remind everyone, it doesn't matter who we are. Even if we are a retired individual living in the city of Newark, if we see a child in the street, it is our responsibility to take ownership of that human being, because that's what community really is. To make an investment in the city is to make an investment in our children. So congratulations to everyone and great success for the future.
Thank you, Senator. I don't see President Crump. Did I miss her here? So she's on the program. We think of her, thankfully, even in her absence. But thank you again for the work of the City Council. All of you. Really, 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 really appreciate it. I am now delighted to introduce El Presidente, the president, the chairman of the Newark School Board. And really, it's been a great ride. I don't know what I'm going to do without those 11 o'clock calls in which you point out the things that I'm doing wrong. But I say that with a real smile on my face. Thank you very much. Please, Marquise Akil Lewis, would you give us a few words? Thank you very much.
I would like to ask my board members to come stand with me. We are a family. Welcome to my fellow board members, Board Member Gaddy, Board Member Owens, Board Member Garcia, Board Member Carter, Board Member Bledsoe, and Board Member Johnson. The mayor, the city council members, Senator Ruiz, Senator Rice, I didn't see him, but our county exec and all elected officials and appointed officials. Thank you for coming. Today is the next step closer to local control. I would like to thank Superintendent Cerf and his staff for all that they've done to make sure that Newark Public School moved in this direction. I want to thank Ms. Val Wilson and her staff for making this move possible. This new central office provides us with a great jump, the point as we prepare for new responsibilities under local control. The board and the district will have worked together to find a central office space last year that will make us fiscal responsible and put us in a position to operate more effectively while giving more money to our educators, students in the classrooms. This is a great example for all of us as we move Newark Public Schools forward. We must commit to doing the right thing to operate in order to make sure that we do the best for our Newark children. By us coming here and making this possible, we saved about $2 million annually, creating a great space for families and family resource center, and we are creating more space for our employees to work. This new location is a win-win. As this is the superintendent's last public act, I would like to thank him for doing all he's done to get us this far. Let's put our hands together for him. To Robert Gregory, a homegrown leader who will accept the ball, who have been called into the game to be our quarterback as interim superintendent. We as a board look forward to working with you to make sure that our children receive a quality and effective education. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I guess I've become the MC. So I better look at my notes. I believe we are at that magical moment where we are going to, do I have this right, Roger? Where we are going to cut the ribbon. And there is a man of many, many, many talents, Mr. Leone, but let me tell you something. That cutting ribbons is a specialité. So thank you, Roger. If you could kindly lead us through this ritualized moment. Thank you very much. That is a large pair. So you got that through security? So, look at that. Come on. I think, I don't know that I can do this. The mayor, let's like the mayor.
That's our special.
Yeah.
Let us move this forward.
Okay.
Watch out.
Yes, ma'am.
Watch your back.
Oh, okay, all right. I don't want to be next to but wait, don't we have more? What's that? I don't know what I'm doing.
I shouldn't do that.
No, you should.
Okay. We're
Okay.
gonna fill in behind.
Okay.
With the man with the scissors in the middle.
There you go, man. Two more. Senator, would you care to be? Yes. Eliana?
Please.
Buddha?
George,
George, yeah, George. Man with the building, right? All right.
are we set up right? Rob set us up.
Are we okay, Roger?
Can you get in there?
Roger, come on and get in the picture too. Yeah, come on. Fill in the space. Come on.
Anyone else want to get in? Come on in.
Jason? Oh, you're here.
Can you see the councilman? I think I was just, JC, councilman?
Alright, so what you may not know is that our staff in the central office joined us on a live stream this morning. So to staff who are watching, hello, we are officially open. We have also made opportunities for people to go on tours. Thank you. Good morning.
Wait, Val, make your announcement more important.
All right, so we've also made opportunities for our guests to go on tours. It is a very brief tour. You will see our student to science facility, you will see our state-of-the-art network center, and you will see an example of our office suites on the third floor of the superintendent's office. There are 3 tour guides who will take you through that if you choose to do so after we finish the shots this morning. We want to thank you for coming. It's been a really great experience, and we look forward to you visiting us often. Thank you.
Of course, they integrated in the science program, yeah. Okay.